Hello and welcome to the New Mommy Company YouTube channel. I'm delighted that you're here today and I am excited to talk to you about what is unquestionably our most popular service here that we deliver, that of the Night Nanny. And so for those of you who've not heard of a night nanny before, there are lots of different terms, and right across the world, there's lots of different terms that are used. I was known as a maternity nurse when I worked in the UK. There are other terms that are more akin to the United States, such as baby nurse. But in general, there are a multitude of terms that are known right across the world in terms of what we do, and it all boils down to the same thing. So whether you've heard the term newborn nanny, newborn care specialist, maternity nurse, baby nurse, night nurse, postpartum doula, there's a slew of terms, there's a slew of names. We like to reflect what it is that's used in terms of culturally when people come to us and they ask for certain help or support. But we also want to make sure that we're using the right terminology so that parents understand what the service is. So when I moved to Canada, I started to use the term night nanny because to me it did what it said on the tin. It was someone who was with you at night and it was a nanny. But why would you need somebody at night unless you have a newborn? So I have a number of questions that we get asked on a very regular basis. The first question being, what is a night nanny? Well, that's a really great question. A night nanny is someone who will come into your home and help to take care of you and your baby in those early weeks and those early months when baby is up most frequently, when feeding challenges are at their most prevalent, and when you yourself are just not feeling at your best. And obviously the best thing for getting better and recovering from the pregnancy, from the birth, from breastfeeding, all of that, the best solution is always sleep and rest. And so that's where we come in and that's what we can provide. So if you're looking for a night nanny, no matter where you are in the world, there are three key things that you need to look for. You need to look for somebody who has the right associated qualifications, the right experience, and almost as important as those two is the personality to go along with it. Because without the right person, having somebody in your home might feel a little awkward or a little difficult. And it's certainly not meant to add to your stress, it's meant to relieve your stress. So in terms of qualifications, there's no one set qualification that makes you exclusive to do this job. The people that work with us have various backgrounds, such as nursing, midwifery, doulas, internationally trained obstetricians and pediatricians. In the United States, there are now more and more people training as newborn care specialists, and here in Canada, perinatal support workers. And so the industry as a whole is growing, which is wonderful, because hand on heart, I can tell you that our service is by far the most popular service that we provide here, and we cannot keep up with demand. So as a side note, it's probably a good time to mention that we're hiring right across the country people who have the relevant experience and qualifications and, like I mentioned, that personality to go along with it, because the service and the demand for the service keeps increasing. So we are hiring if you know anyone who would like to work with moms and babies. So one of the questions that we get asked all the time is, well, if I'm planning to breastfeed, then I don't need a night nanny because I'm going to be up anyway. And yes, whether you're pumping or whether you're breastfeeding, yes, you will be up at night. But here's the thing to remember. Having someone who can support you while you're breastfeeding or pumping, did you ever think about the advantages of that? Well, if not, let me give you some insight. They can bring the baby to you so that you don't have to get out of bed, and therefore if you're recovering from stitches or a C-section, then you can continue to just stay where you are, even help you and support you in a sideline breastfeeding position. If you are pumping, you don't have to get up and go get your pump, or you don't have to take that pump to get it washed and cleaned for the next pumping session. We can help to take care of all of those things, or your own night nanny can do that for you. So imagine not having to get out of bed, unless you really, really have to. And imagine not having to wash and prepare and get the pump ready. We can take care of that. But something that you may not have considered if you've not yet had your baby is the fact that the breastfeeding or the pumping part is the short part. The thing that's most time consuming is the burping, the diapering, the swaddling, the getting them back to sleep. And particularly if your baby has any sort of gas issues, constipation issues, is a 4th trimester baby, maybe has a hard time with their days and their nights. So it's not the feeding that's the time consuming part, it's everything else. And hey, the good news is we can take care of all of that so that you're only awake for the feeding or the pumping, and then you get to go back to sleep, which maximizes your time asleep in between all of the feedings. And as we know, yes, those feedings are pretty close together. So that's just another advantage of having somebody. And we understand that if you are breastfeeding, you might feel like it's not the choice for you. And if that's okay, and if that's your choice, then that's okay. There is daytime support too, so you could always catch up on a nap during the day if you felt like that was going to be more advantageous to you. So as we know, the more sleep we get, the more we're going to feel better, but also to make sure that we can produce that milk, because if we're not getting enough rest, it is going to impact our milk supply. So just another thing to think about if you are breastfeeding or pumping. If you're considering having a night nanny, but the cost is something that you are concerned about, then there are some options open to you as to how you can lessen the cost and lessen the financial burden. The first thing is to call us and have us create a gift registry for you. That way you can have us deal with your friends and family and they can contribute as much or as little as they want. We'll keep a track record of it for you, and then you have X amount of dollars to spend at the end of it to be able to provide that service for yourself. The other thing you can do is you can totally customize the number of nights and the hours that you have somebody. We have people who will have anything from 1 night a week to 7 nights a week, and therefore the more nights you have, the greater the cost. But depending on what's going on, if you have premature babies, if you have twins, if you have a partner that isn't at home very often because of work and travel, etc., then it can be a real, true lifesaver. Another thing to consider when you're thinking about hiring a night nanny is booking in advance. We hate saying no to people, we hate disappointing you, but unfortunately our supply of people is limited. And well, why is that? Well, that's because we're very picky. I have no apologies for saying that we are very particular about who we will hire to come work with us. So it's very important that we have the right people to make sure that you are happy in the services that we're able to provide to you. Your satisfaction is what makes us keep this service going and drives us to make sure that you get the best out of the service. But it's really important wherever you are in the world that you are booking in advance. Most people will book anywhere between 4, 5, 6 months out. We get some people who literally will pee on a stick, and while they're telling their partner, they're telling us. Now that might sound like a little bit of an exaggeration, but it is often the case where sometimes people contact us before they've gotten pregnant because they want to make sure that they can get all of their ducks in a row. So the people that we disappoint are the people who call us today and saying I'm having a baby next week, or the people who call us and say I've had my baby already. So we hate to disappoint you. So my suggestion, no matter where you are, is always, always, always where you can to book in advance. Now we do regularly pull rabbits out of hats in that we are sideline magicians and we can often come up with last minute support and help for you. But it's much less stressful to do it while the baby is tucked away in your tummy and you have the time to be able to dedicate to it. And it also means that you get what you need in terms of the nights and the hours and the rotation of the shifts, etc., so that it's totally customized to you. When it comes to the duration, again, there is no right and there's no wrong answer. The duration totally depends on what you need as a family. And so we have done anything from 1 night to 2 years. And again, that's all based on clients' individual needs. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no average, because there's no such thing as an average family. Even if you have twins that are having babies right around the same time, their needs are going to be different. And we can customize that to your needs. So all I would say to you is, if you haven't heard of the Night Nanny service, or if you didn't know that a service exists to be able to support you in your own home, now is the time to investigate it. Do a little research, figure out who are the companies that can provide the support for you in your area. We are in the 5 major cities across Canada, but there are companies across the world, there are people across the world who can provide this service for you. It is definitely something that you will not regret investing in, because at the end of the day, if you've had a good night's sleep, you can cope with just about any of the curveballs that come at you during the day. And I will talk about it just very briefly in terms of postpartum depression and staving off some of the anxiety or the depression that can set in after you've had the baby. Completely different to baby blues. It is a really great support for anyone who is predisposed to postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. So just give that a little bit of consideration if you are considering getting pregnant, or if you're planning to have a baby within the next year or so. Definitely something to consider. If you have any questions about Night Nannies, no matter where you are, we would love to chat to you. So do comment down below and let us know, did you hire a night nanny? How long did you have somebody for? What was the benefit to you? We know there are many more benefits than what I've talked about today, but I would love to hear from you. If you've enjoyed today's video, do give us a thumbs up. We always like to see those thumbs up coming in. And in future, if you want to stick around to hear more of our videos, we are here every Thursday, and each video comes out at 11:15 Eastern. So we hope that you'll stick around and that you'll join us for more of these videos. And in the meantime, give us a comment, let us know what you thought. And if you want to know more about Night Nannies, then I'm happy to come back and chat to you a little bit more. Until then, I hope you are all doing well, and I will look forward to seeing you again on the next video very soon. Take care and bye-bye.